years later, and we are expecting. I mean, the stadium has a capacity to invite 15,000 people, and there are waiting list of around 15 to 20,000.
15,000 or 50,000?
15,000 right now because the
Right,
stadium has a limited capacity. It's a newly built
right.
stadium in Nassau Coliseum. I mean, and it's in the Indian hub, but there are a waiting list of another 15 to 20,000 people who wants to see Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi has bring change to Indian Americans' presence in America. We were very silent. Now, after this, after the Prime Minister has done several events across the country, we are highlighted. People are recognizing Indians. People are recognizing Indians have done well. Indians are doctors. Indians are entrepreneurs. Indians are not only the snakes pipers. They are much more than that. Indians are always pro-Trump, but they are as well as Democrats at the same time. And a few leaders are pretty democratic, and we are also in support to the because Trump is a supporter of India, but at the same time, the vice president is from Indian origin. So that also makes a big difference. It's a
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Hindustan Times and I'm Abhishek Singh. Today, the Ministry of External Affairs said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will soon be heading to the US to attend the Quad Leaders Summit on September 21st. He will arrive in the US on Saturday, the same day when the Quad Summit will be held in Delaware, which is also the hometown of US President Joe Biden. In addition to the Quad meeting, the PM will also hold a bilateral with the US President. India and US are expected to sign pacts on Indo-Pacific Economic Framework and Indo-US Drug Framework. Interestingly, presidential candidate Donald Trump recently said he will also be meeting the PM, but the Ministry of External Affairs refrained from confirming the meeting. Now, PM Modi's visits in the past to the US have been marked by massive outreach events. What's this visit going to be like? What are the preparations on the ground? To find all that out, we are joined by Deepak Kavadia, founder and chairman of NRI Federation USA. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kavadia.
thank you. It's nice seeing you.
Mr. Kavadia, what are the preparations like? How's the Josh?
It's a very high Josh, massive preparations happening in all over America, and not only in New York. This event is happening at Nassau Coliseum, Long Island, New York. But the masses from across the country, the overseas Indians from all over America are coming to New York. The hotels are full. The Long Island area is jammed packed with massive Indian hubs. The restaurants are full. Everything is planned properly, well organized for the Sunday event that's happening Sunday morning right here in New York.
Right. And if you could tell us more about the event in terms of who's going to attend, because the last time the Prime Minister was in the US, of course, during Howdy Modi, presidential candidate now, Donald Trump, was also in attendance. So what kind of guest list do you have? Who's going to attend the event?
So I guess as usual, the most important highlight of the event is, of course, Prime Minister Modi, Honorable Prime Minister Modi. But besides Prime Minister Modi, I believe the congressmen and senators from New York area, Democrats and Republicans, both will be joining the podium along with welcoming the Prime Minister to America. But besides that, I don't think this time Trump or the Vice President will be joining the podium along with them because of the protocol issue and because of the elections this year in America. So it can be either side as of now. So I guess that will be wiser for everyone to just see Prime Minister and the Indian diaspora and some congressmen and senators welcoming the Prime Minister to America.
Also, have you heard anything about former President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting? Because, of course, Donald Trump did during a rally mention that during his visit, Prime Minister Modi might also be meeting him. But from here, the Ministry of External Affairs has refrained from confirming that meeting.
Yeah, because at this stage, both Donald Trump and the Vice President are focusing on Indian Americans and their support. So at this time, favoring one party will be not good for any Indian Prime Minister at this stage because we don't know who's going to be the next US President as of in November. So of course, I believe that both will be welcoming the Prime Minister in person, but they won't be coming on the stage with Prime Minister Modi on Long Island, Nassau podium.
Yeah, but after the Quad summit, Prime Minister Modi is expected to hold a bilateral with the President of America, Joe Biden.
I agree, but that's a president, so it's a protocol that President
Right,
Joe Biden has to welcome Prime Minister Modi. But
right,
besides
right.
that, as of elections, this is election year, and in the election year, it's very crucial that to
In
support
fact,
any
not just the
single party.
election year, the election is literally just around the corner
Yep.
in a matter of a month and a half.
Yeah, it's just around the corner, and it's a very big buzz. Yesterday, there was a big Trump rally in New York, and
Right.
right near to, in fact, right near to the Long Island Nassau Coliseum, Trump has did the big rally there, and to seek the support of Indian Americans, and so does the Vice President. They're both working on to get a big Indian support, and hopefully, let's see who will win because both are the key factors in this. And the Prime Minister Modi could act as a bit of 1% Indian population that could change their mood and change their ideas that which side they should go. And it's not price for any Indian Prime Minister and as well as Indian public to change the mood at this time because the USA elections are right around the corner. It's like less than 2 months now.
Right. I'll talk to you about the elections a little more a little later. But at this point in time, let's talk a little bit more about the event which is to be held in Long Island. So, roughly how many people are you expecting to be in attendance?
So this is one of the events that's happening after several years after the when we have 45,000 people at Madison Square Garden inviting and welcoming Prime Minister Modi, and this is the second event, really few months, years later, and we are expecting. I mean, the stadium has a capacity to invite 15,000 people, and there are waiting list of around 15 to 20,000.
15,000 or 50,000?
15,000 right now because the
Right.
stadium has a limited capacity. It's a newly built
Right.
stadium in Nassau Coliseum. I mean, and it's in the Indian hub, but there are a waiting list of another 15 to 20,000 people who wants to see Prime Minister Modi, but due to the limited space availability, we have to restrict everybody and we have to refrain them from to limited seats. But we have a lot of requests every single day, all over. But Prime Minister the wishes from Indian diaspora across the country are with the Prime Minister Modi and to support Prime Minister Modi and his what he has done last 12 years, 11, 12 years in India, and what he's going to be do another 2 years. So we are in support to Prime Minister Modi and his way of governing the country.
You know, Prime Minister Modi, every time he goes to the US, in fact, for that matter, most of the countries abroad, he receives this really warm, huge, massive welcome. What's the reason you think he's so popular among the Indian diaspora?
See, I was probably the first person when we had the first ever event in New York, and I saw that it makes a bring change. And in fact, Prime Minister Modi has bring a bring change to Indian Americans' presence in America. We were very silent. Now, after this, after the Prime Minister has done several events across the country, we are highlighted. People are recognizing Indians. People are recognizing Indians have done well. Indians are doctors. Indians are entrepreneurs. Indians are not only the snakes pipers. They are much more than that. We are entrepreneurs. We are CEOs. We are doctors. We are we're doing hoteliers and all over the country. And we are high net worth individuals who are making tremendous money and tremendous progress and bring a lot of wealth and strength to America as well.
Right. And now, briefly, before I let you go, let's also talk about the elections. What's the mood like? What are the Indians living in the US, who, of course, also have the right to vote in the US because they've chosen US citizenship now? What's the mood among them like as far as the elections are concerned?
So this is pretty crucial right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Indians are always pro-Trump, but they are as well as Democrats at the same time. And a few leaders are pretty democratic, and we are also in support to the because Trump is a supporter of India, but at the same time, the vice president is from Indian origin, so that also makes a big difference. It's a pretty much I would say it's a 50-50 mood light, but we are crossing our fingers to see where we have a right candidate for America who can run and who can and I believe anybody who will come in, it will be a supporter to India. Yeah, they have to support to India. They have to go with the ideology that we are going. India is a peace-loving country. Our Prime Minister is doing phenomenal. The policies are very clear. Indian Americans have a great relationship ever. The immigrants are doing phenomenal. I mean, the only thing is that is the Mexico border. That's the biggest issue. So I don't know how this issue will be sorted out. Hopefully, the Vice President will soon say that the Mexican border should be closed and the immigrants should be more allowed by limited means only, so that we can make the country safe again.
You're saying that's the biggest issue when it comes to, Indians who are living in the US against the Democrats. That's the only grudge perhaps they hold.
Yep, because the thing is the borders are closed. There are a lot of like crime has gone increased because of the illegals and because of the crossing the borders and coming into America a lot. But Indians are always a peace-loving community. We people are always very, very silent and very quiet people. So we don't like any violence. We don't like any crime. We don't like any hatredness. We don't like anything. We just like peace and prosperity. So that's what our issue is. And I guess I guess soon we will be hearing from the Vice President that they will be curbing the borders and they will be having limited access to the illegals who have been pouring into the country, like coming into the country from last several years, in huge numbers. We have like 70,000 illegal immigrants sitting in New York City and occupying lots of hotels and it's consuming our tax money.
All right. Before we sort of start deviating and start to talk about another subject altogether, let me bring you back to the visit. Also, because interestingly, you mentioned in one of your earlier responses that Donald Trump, in your opinion, seems like a friend of India. But just a few days ago, Donald Trump did call India one of the biggest abusers when it comes to the trade deals. So statements like that, do they impact the sentiment of the Indians in the US?
I don't think it does impact because anyone will come in will have to be friends of India because the Indian diaspora is pretty strong here. We are doing the major fundraising for these both election candidates, electoral, and they understand that Indians are very crucial right now for their fundraising events, for their voting, for their to be get elected. The congressmen and senators in large numbers are in favor of India, and the Prime Minister Modi has really created an image that unilateral image as a global leader, where it can be. I think none of the Indians, none of the congressmen can be parted out from their idea, Prime Minister Modi ideology or Indians ideology, and. Finally, either Trump or the Vice President, both anyone come in, but they will have to work with India and they will be in support of India. I don't think and second thing is Pakistan does not exist anymore. It's already done. So the Indian diaspora, Indian continent is one of the with the highest population in the world, with the most young country. They need India for sure.
Need India for sure. We'll be keeping a close watch, of course, on the visit from here. And we will, at some point in time, I would like to talk to you again because the Prime Minister is going to be there for a couple of days. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Kavadia, and sharing your thoughts with us and talking to us about, what NRIs living in the US. And of course, people like you have a plan for the Prime Minister's visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.